Hi there. Thanks for tuning in to Make This Happen, where you discuss an idea we've been dying to see come alive. Every week, my friend Alexander Gonzalez and myself, J.E., will bring you a product you never knew you needed. Now, next week. Is it next week? I think it's next week. The moment Alex has been waiting for his entire life. Pokémon Legends Arceus comes out to the Nintendo Switch platform. Now, my biggest regret with Make This Happen, this podcast you're listening to right now, is one of the ideas that inspired this podcast was a Pokemon game. Forever ago, before Legends of Arceus has ever been announced, I pitched to Alex my dream for a Pokemon open world game. It didn't have to be open world. It could have just been a traditional Pokemon game. But I wanted Game Freak to make a Pokemon game set in the Edo period of Japan.
I can confirm. I didn't even think it was realistic when we talked about it.
Yeah.
And now it's happening.
The problem with what Game Freak has decided to do, they missed a golden opportunity that would have gotten fans off their backs forever. So we are going to make it here. I would have liked it if this came out before Legends of Arceus was announced, and I never thought I'd do it, but what the hell? We'll put it out there and be like, I had a better idea for Legends of Arceus. Even if now it seems like I didn't and it wasn't original because they made the game and now the podcast is coming out after they announced the game. But trust me, this idea has been there since the beginning. And
Right.
What Legends of Arceus is doing that the whole reason why I wanted a game set like 100, 200 years prior to current day is the big problem with Pokemon now is, there's 1,000 of them.
Right.
That's a lot of made up animals and names that sound ridiculous every new iteration to know. I mean, I barely even know 100 of them at this point. I don't know 1,000, I mean, I'm sure I could probably whip up.
It's so strange to say that I could probably name like 300.
I think you could name more than that, Alex. Don't cut yourself short.
I think so. I think that's that. I know hundreds of Pokemon.
I'm pretty sure you could name at least 800 of them. Like, I'm pretty confident if we sat down and was like, Alex, start naming them off, and I'll start checking them out.
If I had pictures, for sure, it would.
Like a way to like remember, like if I showed you each Pokemon picture, you'd probably be able to.
And I was like, oh, that's Sandile. Okay,
exactly, yeah. Otherwise, it's like the 50 states. You'll just forget one exists. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's just 50 fucking states. You know what I mean? 1,000 fucking. I mean, it makes it easier that there's.
It's 896, I think.
Yeah. But like, you'll know 80% of them, I think, for sure. And it's the evolutions will make it a little bit easier because you're like, oh, that goes to that, it goes to that, it goes. You know what I mean? But that's the biggest problem. And the biggest problem with the video games now that they have those 800 or 1,000 or whatever Pokemon is fans want every single one,
for some reason.
Everybody loves a Pokemon that is not going to be in that game, What they could have done. Pokemon evolution, huge part of the game. We are 200 years. Let's make this one just so it's different from Arceus. Let's make this 500 years in the past. No, let's make this 1,000 years in the past, and we are all of a sudden in fucking Rome or England, right? And we are in there during like the medieval period. And what we're gonna do is these Pokemon, they haven't evolved yet to the Pokemon we know now. So it's going to be a whole new set of 100 brand new Pokemon that no one has ever seen before and don't exist today because these Pokemon are the basis for some of the Pokemon that we have now. So what game take place during England?
I was honestly thinking about ripping off The Witcher and using a bunch because I think that's Scandinavian lore, right?
Oh, that's cool.
If we use Scandinavian lore to base a bunch of the Pokemon off, like drowners and witches, I think we could have a head start because they use Japanese lore and the lore of every town that they set to base their Pokemon out of. So we would just have to do the same.
Right. And also there was a game that took place in England, right?
Yeah.
Do you know which genre that was?
I don't think it was England exactly. But let me see.
I feel like
I think that's X and Y, right? Not X and Y. Sword and Shield.
Yeah, Sword and Shield. That was. I was like, I feel
I
like this was
Google
recent.
that. I was like, hold on.
Okay,
Which one were the Pokemon characters the whitest? And I don't mean it like of the culture.
Yeah, just because it's cold, right? So okay, this idea just came to mind. So what if we make this a medieval Pokemon game that takes place in Europe generally, right? And then we'll also have some of the new Pokemon they introduced for Sword and Shield, but not those Pokemon. We'll have some of those new Pokemon they introduced, but let's say the second and third evolution of these new brand new Pokemon that we're introducing, the third and second evolution, and some of them just straight up, are the Pokemon from Sword and Shield, but the starter. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, like, what's an original Pokemon from Sword and Shield that's pretty popular?
That has evolutions.
Yeah.
Trying to think, like Sizzlepede, that has 2 evolutions. What's another popular one? Oh, Flapple. Remember that thing, the little apple dragon?
No, I don't. I guess I don't remember the Sword and Shield originals that much because they're all originals to me. But
yeah, right.
I can't think of it. But like, okay, let's scrap that idea. Let's make it so all these original 120 Pokemon, some of them you'll see the biology or where the idea came from, that it evolved into eventually this weird monkey Pokemon that looks a certain way that becomes Grookey. But at this evolution, it's not Grookey. It's a different Pokemon. Maybe it's normal type, and its third evolution, it has a grass typing to it, you know?
I want to see a buff-ass Cubone. You know what I'm talking about? How, like, because it uses bones and stuff, how strong it would be.
And during an era where so many more people died, yeah, maybe ghost Pokemon and
it has like dinosaur bones or something. Like we're also, because it's an era of fantastical creatures, I want this to actually be a game where there's a lot of dragons. It's not a legendary. Like you actually find dragons all the time. Cool. Like wyverns, all kinds of different dragons you end up finding, almost to the point where, and then bug Pokemon are souped up and strong.
Yeah, maybe.
And we make bug types.
This Pokemon game is going to be the first Pokemon game that, I don't know if it's the first, but dragon and bug type is prevalent, and they're like the strong type. Like everyone's going to use dragon and bug from this generation.
Right. And then maybe this is going too far. I want to see bug parasites.
Okay.
But like strong. Because like, I mean,
you tell me,
there's diseases.
You're the Pokemon expert. So you tell me what the Pokemon are going to be filled with. And just think about this being, let's say this takes place in general Northern Europe.
I think it would be really fun to do. This would be really easy to do. Make it, like you said, a lot of bug type, a lot of dragon types. That'd be great.
I feel like there would also just be
there's a lot of fun you could do. We could have a rat type, a normal type that's a rat, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I want it to be normal and ghost. And the reason that is once you do, like, you have a move that summons more rats, but once you summon enough, it becomes a plague.
I was just going to say, I don't think it'd be normal. It'd be like dark or poison, but I don't think poison's like a typing.
Oh, I think that's what it would be, normal and poison.
Yeah.
So then it would be plague rats that eventually you summon a bunch. And you know how wishy-washy, that fish that is a bunch of fish, like a school of fish together? It would be almost the opposite effect of that maybe once you knock out one Pokemon with this, when it's evolved, it can do this.
Right. And I also think that it could... The way that it's not a Rattata, the reason why it's not a Rattata, because back then the rats were so much just bigger. So it's
and
almost
they were infectious. They had diseases.
Yeah, it's almost like a poisonous Raticate just from the start. And then as humans evolved, this Pokemon became smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually it became Rattata, a field rat, rather than the fucking plague rat that lived and destroyed most of a continent, you know?
Right.
And
And
all the Pokemon are going to be kind of like that, where it's like, oh, this, like maybe there's a horse Pokemon that went to war so often it became a fire type, and then that eventually becomes a Rapidash, you know?
yeah, and I think there's also going to be some really cool stuff where steel types for the first time ever are going to have a bunch of different colors, where I want it to be where there's bronze, there's silver, there's gold, there's
Get this. The legendaries in this, the 3 legendaries are going to be like 3 different dragons that are like different metals.
Yeah, where they have different metal like platings and stuff that they have on them. And I think the metal types or steel types in this game can be really inventive and cool. Not only just human inventions, but stuff that you would see out and like different combinations of like shards or volcanic glass. Anything like that would be really cool to see. So I see dragon types. The water types I think can be really fantastical too.
Uh-huh.
Where you're going to have your squid, you're going to have your water and dragon type where it's going to be like a Nessie, but then you're also going to have like crazy like mer creatures, more humanoid like water types. Yeah, mermen, mer things like
sirens and stuff like that.
Right, and almost to the point where like I would almost blend like Ponyo into it, where like it's just a bunch, like it's just very living. Or like because I want this to be where it almost feels like it's the first time where Pokemon are encroaching on your space rather than you're in human city towns and you visit the Pokemon when you want to. Instead, it's like, no, you need like that you visit settlements and that's where you are, but the Pokemon are always there.
Yeah, like towns have built on top of where Pokemon are, not you are in a town and you go out to see Pokemon. You are invading Pokemon's land.
Right. So like ghost types will haunt villages. Right. So like you'll have to deal with that, like different kinds of ghost types.
That could be like your little side quest around Badge 4 where like you go to a town that's being hounded by ghost Pokemon and you got to go like solve whatever's making the ghost Pokemon go all crazy on this town, you know? I could also see, you know, a trebuchet Pokemon, a Trojan horse Pokemon, maybe. A Centurion, like a Roman Centurion, like with the helmet and like the feathers sticking out of the helmet and stuff, like kind of like those knights, like a Dark Knight from Legend of Zelda. Lots of like suit of armor Pokemon, stuff like that. And that could be a ghost Pokemon that's like a suit of armor. And it like is a Pokemon that wears suits of armor or whatever, and that eventually becomes like a Mimikyu or whatever it's called. You mentioned Nessie, that could be eventually it becomes like a Dragonair, so you could like give it kind of like that coloring, but it looks like different a Lapras Nessie thing. Or I guess it could be end of Lapras, but yeah.
And fairy Pokemon could be like almost like gods among us in sort of a way where they have like this whole where we would mix fairy types with more holy types, so to say. Yeah. Like not directly do that, but it's just I guess the name that would bring to mind what I'm trying to do here, where we'd make them more, I guess, cheruby.
I mean, I could see fairy Pokemon looking like the fairies from Legend of Zelda, or more like Tinkerbell in this, where it's like, you know, because fairies are a big part of the European lore back then. But yeah, I could. And we could
still have big ones like fairy queens and stuff like that you can evolve into.
Yeah, and different nymphs. All this working. In terms of the gameplay, do you think this would be a traditional isometric Pokemon game or more like Legend of Arceus coming up? Because when I first envisioned this, it was definitely more like like I thought this was going to be a mainline Pokemon game, start over fresh, have a new set of Pokemon, but tell that same Pokemon story in a different way, where you're going from, in this instance, village to village, and then eventually maybe you go to like the London town of this era, where it's like an actual big city, or like a Rome, or like you know, and then like that's like your big city. But otherwise, you're like going from mud village to like hut village to like very rundown areas. Everyone's kind of gross and disgusting, Pokeballs, we'd have to think of something new for Pokeballs because they don't have technology back then for Pokeballs.
I already had the answer to that. So I was thinking Pokeballs wouldn't be Pokeballs anymore. We'd have to do a little bit of like Monster Hunter mechanics, just very, very light, and making traps where Pokeballs are actually bigger, like as big as your head, almost like Dynamax balls. And what you can do is you can either lay them in the floor with bait, you can make it like a fish trap, or like bury it under the water, or you can put it up like in the trees as a net. But there's going to be different variations of this trap, and you can either lead, depending on the Pokemon behavior, lead them into it, bait them into it, use a Pokemon of yours to scare them into it. But we have these different ways to catch these Pokemon.
So you're thinking it's more like Arceus, so it's like a little bit more open world in terms of how the combat and catching works.
Yeah. And I think this could be its own mainline game, so to say. So right now, what Pokemon's doing to generate revenue and kind of diversify is they have remakes, they have the Let's Go series, they have the main storyline, and now they have Arceus, right?
Right.
So they have like 4 different ones at the same time. It would just supplant one of those.
Well, I guess if theoretically this is... if Arceus was this instead, you know what I mean? So I guess this would take the Arceus spin-off kind of role, like the Gale of Darkness and stuff like that, where it's like kind of like the spin-off game.
Exactly.
Like Mystery Dungeon and all that crap. Okay. So more open world and you're setting up traps and stuff. If it's like that, do you kind of want it to be so instead of having the 6 Pokemon behind you, maybe it's a 3-party system and they follow you around like Dragon Quest?
We can do that, and we can have Pokemon have bonuses for catching too.
And maybe we could make it even cool where if it's like Dragon Quest and you have your party following behind you, maybe we could have it dynamic and cool the way that any Pokemon fan would love, where if you have this giant Pokemon, you and the 2 other Pokemon in your party just ride the giant Pokemon. Yeah. Or like if you have,
like how they had in the Let's Go series, where you'd be on Snorlax's belly, or most definitely.
Like, since you could have multiple it's going to be 3 Pokemon that follow you around at all times. So since if you have like 3 large Pokemon, they'll just follow you around like a giant train, and maybe you ride the front one. If you have 2 small ones and 1 large one, all 3 of you will ride your big one, and like it'll dynamically change, and we'll have to like make sure following has like something fun for each one. Like you said, Snorlax, you would ride on its tummy versus like a Charizard, which you just ride normally. You know what I mean? And it'll all dynamically change. Maybe you could make it so like if you have 2 large Pokemon following you, you could be like, I want to ride on this one and this one follows. Like you could suggest that in your party menu. But yeah, just like 3 Pokemon, that's your party. And you yourself is also in combat, kind of like how Arceus looks like it's going to be. I shouldn't say that's like Arceus since we haven't played it and we don't know, but it looks like Arceus is more you running around doing whatever.
Yeah, so most definitely. I think it would be a nice addition just in how it changes up the typings and what you see as well. That's what I'd be really excited for.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just literally, I just don't want to see the same Pokemon anymore. I just want a brand new set of fresh monsters and don't have to worry about a Pikachu showing up. I just want everything to feel new and exciting. And I understand this is probably going to...
We would still have a Charizard in it.
I don't want that. I just want...
It would just be a different Charizard.
Yeah. Like maybe...
It doesn't have to be. It could be a Charizard, like... Because there's going to be just different dragons and stuff like that.
How about this? Legendaries. 3 metal dragons, each one unique and looks cool and has crazy designs to them. Showcase legendaries. You know, the one that's on the box. Right? On the box that you get, Charizard, Dragonite.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right?
I'd be into that.
And you don't get the Charmander whole thing. This Charizard, no one's ever seen. It's a new evolution of Pokemon. No one's ever seen it before. Dragonite, no one's ever seen this guy before. Where'd this thing come from? It's a new evolution of Pokemon. They don't know in this world that they're a 3-step evolution, and you just found the first version of these original 151 Pokemon, right? And that is the legendary quote unquote of this series. And then you got your 3 mythical dragons. That'd be funny if
Dragonite gets more and more lean and then eventually becomes just like this built Pokemon.
Yeah. And they'll also, of course, look different. It would be like the, I don't know, made up version. I don't know. I can't think of one. Britannian Charizard, Britannian Dragonite.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I was thinking like Charizard eventually ends up starting to look like War Greymon.
I don't understand that reference, but
it's a Digimon reference.
I mean, I got it with the Mon at the end.
Context clues.
Is there any Pokemon that actually has Mon at the end, like how Digimon have Mon at the end of all their names?
No, I don't think so.
How did Digimon get away with that? Like, we're just going to put Mon at the end. Make it sound like a Pokemon.
And, like, it's its own thing, though. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
It's just, it's a Digimon if it has a lot of armor and or guns.
And, like, 10 evolutions. The fuck was I going to say? Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, I think it's a pretty cool idea. I'm excited for Arceus, but I just wish they just started with this was their excuse, man. They could have made a whole new slew of games that took place in like different places around the world, but like 300, 400, we're going way, way before that because Arceus is now in existence. But what if they just had a bunch of new games that all took place in 200 years in the past, just in different countries around the world, like what they do right now with Pokemon, but they just made de-evolutions of everything and like a new slew of Pokemon that's like, our Pokemon haven't evolved yet. So we're at these different, like more primal, realistic animal-looking Pokemon.
Right.
And I think that might be a way to go with it. Maybe go more realistic, like kind of like the original 151, where it was like just a rat. Here's just a general looking fucking Nidoran fucking hedgehog thing.
I think so. I mean, it's actually a bunny.
Yeah.
Nidorans are bunnies. I can't, like, it took me a while to be like, yeah, they're bunnies.
They're poison bunnies. Interesting.
Yeah. Look at Nidoran female.
Yeah, like it kind of does look like a spiky, hard, leathery bunny.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have like, like how bunnies are actually, they don't look like Score Bunny or Nidoran, they're like flat, fat pump balls.
They look like bunnies you'd see in your backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that'll be the bunny Pokemon in this game. It's just a fat, fluffy ball. And it'll be called Fluffery. That sounds like a Pokemon
name. Like Wooloo.
Yeah. Bunnery or whatever. Oh yeah, Baneri is also a bunny Pokemon. The stuffed animal bunny. Anyway, Game Freak, make this happen, even if we all know you don't have the balls to do it. Thanks for listening. If you have any suggestions or products you'd like to see talked about, feel free to write in at @poundgames@gmail.com. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to join the @Pound family, come find us at patreon.com/wearenotgamedads. Patrons receive episodes 2 days early, meaning make this happen because your ears that much sooner. If you enjoyed the show, take a second to give us a review. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play Store, and more. Catch you guys next Sunday with Alex's idea.
Facial groomers or shavers.
Interesting. Like, you're going to change the person that does it, or how you could change doing it at home?
The machine at home.
Cool. I don't have that big of a problem. I mean, this is like 3 weeks. Yours is probably like 2 days.
2 weeks.
You guys can't see this because you're listening to it, but I have a mustache and a goatee. And Alex has a full beard. Yes. I none of it connects either, if you guys can imagine it. Just a mustache, skin, goatee, skin again, and then a soul patch. My goatee and my soul patch don't connect. There's skin in between.
None of mine connect either, look.
Yeah, that's true. At least I have that on you. But you have the full neck. You got the mutton chops, the chops.
I definitely do. We're going to revolutionize and make it easier on everybody next week on Make This Happen. Like the Dragon Ball Z.